Hello and welcome to Elseworlds, a DC fan podcast. My name is Jordan, and with me, as always, is Chris. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing pretty good. It's been a day where we wake up, everything's kind of goes the right way, and I'm like, we're almost done with the day, so that's pretty good.
Yeah, we got some big news that we're going to talk about. So for people that are listening and watching here, we're going to release 2 episodes this week. You'll have this one, which is dropping Thursday, talking about casting rumors and news. And then Friday being our focused episode on the Penguin episode 1. I didn't really want to combine them because I felt like if you haven't watched the Penguin episode 1, you'd have to stop listening midway through, and that drives me nuts when I have to stop a podcast halfway through. So I figure splitting them might be the best way to go about that. And then what? Like in what, a week or two, we have Joker stuff, Joker Folia do,
hmm
and I also think what we're going to do is while we're doing the recaps for Superman and Lois, we might just record ones for Penguin along the way as well. Just do it in one day and release them like how we're doing for this. I think that might work.
Yeah, that sounds about the right formula. I like that idea.
Yeah, because when does Joker come out? The 4th,
Yeah, I think it's that week, so I
and
don't
then
quote me on the day.
the 7th is Superman and Lois. Yeah, so we'll be kind of busy around that around
hmm
that time. All right. Do you want to share the Joker 2 news coverage wise? Because like I'm not going to be on it, so I didn't know if you
Yeah,
wanted to share it now or.
yeah, we're gonna have a round table. We're gonna try to get as many voices in there as we can. We have some people. We've got 4 people that are going to be part of it, and we've got some people who are really excited about it, and we got some people who aren't really excited about it. So it'll be interesting to see the balance and see which side lives up to their expectations. So got a round table going. Ron's going to be there. Chris Evans is going to be there. And if you've been following Capes and Animation, Carlos is going to be there. So voices you probably know if you watch this show. Yeah, I'm really excited about it, especially because I'm more excited about that than I am the movie, if I'm being honest.
Yeah. And I am not going to be there, as mentioned there. I'm not really interested in the movie right now, and it's also just I don't think I'd have the time to go with the new baby and stuff. So it's but that's why it's so cool that we have these people that have been willing to guest on there, and now that I have a co-host in Chris, like he can take an episode and run with it. You did the great episode on the state of Superman while I was out, so we're keeping it going here without me 100% of the time being on the show.
Yeah, but you know what I've noticed by starting Capes and Animation and then doing that show with Anthony is it is so much easier when I have a Jordan. When I don't have a
Mm.
Jordan, it's like crap. I have to be the one doing the
Oh, the hosting.
transition, the
Yeah.
hosting, you know the getting us out of there, the getting us into there.
Right.
And it's like, man, Jordan does a great job because this is hard.
It's all experience. Yesterday was 7 years ago from when I started my first podcast, my Disney
Whoa.
podcast, Behind the Dreams. It was 7 years to the day that we recorded our first episode. And yeah, and then I kind of just been continuing to create podcasts. So experience, 7 years of podcasting experience here. So what can I say? Okay, so we're going to talk about some news, like I said on this episode, and then we'll dive into our Penguin coverage on the next episode. So, uh, you may have noticed on our videos, I'm starting to add end screens. Ooh, the way people have been adding end screens to their videos that allow you to click the next video. Our Penguin coverage should pop up on that end screen at the end if you're wanting to watch it the next day. Okay. Batman 2, the Batman 2. Excuse me. Script is done. Matt Reeves came out and said the script is done for the Batman Part 2. They start filming early next year. We already knew they were starting to film early next year, but we now have confirmation that the script is done. And yeah, I don't know if there's too much to say about that update. I felt like that update was coming. I mean, obviously.
I feel like we've said this the last two times about the Batman 2. We kind of knew where it was in the process,
Right.
but
Exactly.
now the script is on paper. It's official. Like people, have it. So like now the speculation actually makes sense a little bit because there's something tangible to speculate on. Other than that, it does nothing for us. We are exactly where we were.
Right. No, I like the way you put that. We already kind of knew the process. And like I don't want to like toot my own horn, but like I do follow this stuff pretty well throughout many companies, and I love television and I love following the process of TV shows and like ratings and all that kind of stuff. And same thing with movies. I understand like movie lingo and green lighting and all that kind of stuff. So I just think I've known where it's at. Like, if you have filming dates, most of the time they don't get pushed back. They're going to have a script ready for those filming dates. I don't think Matt Reeves was ever going to struggle to get a script out, really. I mean, like, he's just putting on his. It probably could have been done weeks ago, honestly. And this is just the next time he's updating us saying, yeah, the script is actually done. I think some people feel like when the script is not done, that he's sitting on a blank page one, sitting there like, what do I write? But no, I mean, like he's probably written so many drafts. They've probably gone over it so many times. Like it's not doesn't mean just because it wasn't complete that nothing was being progressed on it. Getting complete would be they have a shooting script that they're feeling very confident about actually filming on now. So
Hmm.
that I felt pretty good about as we were going through the process there. Matt Reeves is a professional. Never doubted he'd get it done.
Yeah, media literacy is so important, and I think a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
are looking for the thing to be outraged about before. Like they
Yeah.
almost don't want the facts; they want the "it's not ready yet. I don't have it now. I'm angry." So I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of that. Or other than that, people who aren't excited about it are trying to say, "See, it's not even happening now." Remember when that was going on? Remember when this
I
movie
was
was
I,
canceled?
I was going to bring that up because guess what? Our next story here is the Penguin episode 1 opened with 5.3 million views on its first 4 days, which is I think they said the most since The Last of Us on HBO and HBO Max. So this is now an HBO production. It's not just
Hmm.
HBO, like it's not just a Max production, it's an HBO production. And that's good numbers. And that's what I was going to bring up. Remember when everybody thought this was canceled? This is not going to get
The
canceled.
speed
The
up
show is
succession,
popular.
dude.
The movie was popular. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, the movie was popular, made $800 million. The TV show is now popular and it's keeping the story continuing so it's fresh in people's mind even if the sequel takes 4 years to get made. We do have a story that takes place after the movie that's come out 2 years within the movie. So like
Hmm.
that it's like relax. Let's relax everybody. I know it's not Bruce Wayne, I know it's not the Batman side of it, but it's continuing the world and continuing those story threads from the movie.
Well, we'll
It's a
talk about it
sequel.
when we talk about the Penguin, but it's a direct
Yes.
continuation of the story from the end of the Batman with the walls, the seawall going down, and the city being flooded, and Carmine Falcone being. We'll talk about that there, but
Yes. Yeah.
yeah, if this movie is successful, by the way, people are going to go over the top in their praise for not rushing it, for taking their time, for craftsmanship. Just watch. Everything that's being said about it in a negative light is going to
Yep.
be
Yep.
praised. Like, and it's going to be so heavy. And
Well, you
all
can
I'm
see
saying
the
is,
tweets. You can
yeah,
see the tweets now, Chris, of them being like, "This is why you take 4 years between movies and not two, like the MCU or whatever." Like
yeah.
or like why you don't do a movie 3 months after, like the MCU does. It's like, yeah, people are gonna spin this certain ways. It is what it is.
Oh, absolutely.
But no, really good numbers for the Penguin. It's a hit. Um, it's getting praise from all over. and we'll talk about it in the next episode. So I don't want to go too much in it, but I just thought it'd be nice to highlight that it is a success. There was a lot of people, I think, that wanted it to fail. On both sides. I think there were some
Mhm.
people that are pro Snyder that wanted it to fail, so that way they could say James Gunn is killing Matt Reeves' vision. And then I think there were some that were very silly about their complaints about the show. And we'll get into that in the next episode. I don't want to
Yeah,
derail this one.
it's a big one for DC though, and it's the biggest
Yeah.
one we've had in a bit. And it was a super amount of fun to have a premiere that everyone was talking about being a DC thing. So that's a win.
Yeah. All right, so let's get into the casting news, okay? Because this is probably what the bulk of this episode is going to be about as we discuss the big news. Last episode, we talked about the James Brolin rumors, and I think literally a couple days after I published it, because I held on to it for a bit because I was busy, but it was like literally, I think 2 days after I published it, that the Brolin thing was announced that is not happening. At least I did get it out before the Brolin stuff was denied, okay? And the other names we had heard were like what Ewan McGregor, Matthew McConaughey, and Timothy Oliphant, right? And there was like another name that I'm blanking on right now. But anyway, we heard a few names of people that were attached to like this list of 5. And I do think this has hurt the news a little bit because I feel like people are saying, well, if that was their top 5, then why are we getting a name that wasn't on the list? When I don't think it really works that way. They may have had it limited to those names at one point, and then maybe Kyle Chandler came in and wowed them, or maybe that was their targeted ones that they wanted to get, and then they actually took auditions, and then he wowed them. Who knows how that actually worked? But people are trying to spin it in a way of they can't get the big stars. And I think that one is a slight to Kyle Chandler a bit. Is he the big name? Is he as big of a name as those other ones? No. But I don't think it spells doom for the DCU or Lanterns because they're not getting Josh Brolin. In fact, I've seen this sentiment go around a lot too. I like this a lot better than Josh Brolin. I can see Kyle Chandler being Hal Jordan a lot more than I can see Brolin being Hal Jordan.
It feels lighter, doesn't it? It doesn't feel as weighed down in the choice that definitely would have been a choice to go with Brolin.
Yeah.
Whereas this, you can kind of see him be the traditional Hal Jordan. That's not a take on the character. It's just
Mm-hmm.
kind of Hal Jordan. And that's kind of what you need, especially after, you went with Ryan Reynolds in the 2011, I think it was, movie. And like
Yep. 2011.
you kind of just need your definitive Hal Jordan, and not take a lot of chances with it. I think if there's a character you play it safe with, it's Green Lantern Hal Jordan, especially because I think John Stewart is going to be the future of the franchise. We talked about this like in the chat how there's no movie deal part of the deal attached to his contract, and you know what? That doesn't really mean that won't continue, but I don't think Hal Jordan is the future of the Green Lantern Corps in the DCU. I think he's a mentor to John Stewart in the beginning, from everything I've heard.
Yeah. This is where, okay, I've seen a lot of complaints that he's 59 years old. And I want to just say one, he just turned 59 like 8 days ago, 7 days ago, something like that.
Happy
8
birthday,
days ago.
dude!
Yeah. And what a birthday present, getting a big role like
Yeah,
Hal Jordan. So, and I saw some people really complaining about that. And I guess I understand a bit. If like Hal Jordan is your guy, if he is your favorite comic book character, I sympathize a little bit. Okay. But we have had a younger Hal Jordan in the Green Lantern movie, and I don't care if you say that movie sucked or whatever. You still have had that representation. But I see a lot of people say, well, why can't he be like 30 and John Stewart be 20 and he can still be a mentor to him? I just don't think that would play on like a movie or television, because in Hollywood, 30-year-olds and 20-year-olds don't look that different.
Yeah,
Um, it would feel like they're contemporaries. So I kind of like the fact that they're going with a 59-year-old as
we're not
Hal Jordan,
looking.
because,
We're not.
and he
We're not.
doesn't look 59.
Yeah,
He looks really good.
we're not looking for Peter Parker and Miles Morales here. I think
Right, right.
Green Lantern can pretty much be any age and work. I think getting a guy in his 30s for John Stewart makes an awful lot of sense. Uh, I think it's also most realistic that you're going to have a actor with the gravitas to play John Stewart, have enough experience to maybe not be a big name yet, maybe looking for his big break, but you have an actor who's ready to step into that role in his 30s. Whereas you don't want to put that pressure on a 20-year-old. You know, there are not a lot of actors who just, you know, do that. I mean, I think Spider-Man has been blessed with Tom Holland. I don't know how many Tom Hollands there are for these types of roles. I I think the age thing is stupid, especially because look, I look at my parents. They're in their 60s right now. They don't seem that old to me, especially when I'm comparing them to my grandparents, who very much seem that old. Like my grandparents are in their
Right.
80s and 90s. We are talking about it in a way. The language that we're using, you would think we were talking about people my grandparents' age. I don't think you stop living at 50, and I think Hollywood is ageist, and I think our society is ageist. Um, I, look,
Well, here's the thing. Were people upset that Tobey Maguire was 27-year-old playing a high schooler in Spider-Man?
nobody cared.
No,
Nobody really
because
cared.
he played younger. So what I'm saying is, people are taking Kyle Chandler's age and saying that's going to be his age. I think Kyle Chandler is going to play younger. He's going to play a little younger, and that works in Hollywood because he looks damn good for 59 years old, right? He's
If you
probably going
told
to be
me he was
playing.
45, I believe it.
He's going to be playing 45 to 50. I bet, right? And that's how it's going to be. And then if you look at the rumor for John Stewart, which we'll get to in a second, he's 33. He's going to probably be playing a little younger, right? Like Hollywood does this all the time. It's not like, it doesn't mean just because he's 59 the character is 59. Um, so for me, the age thing is not a big of an issue. Also, Kyle Chandler is in great shape, so it's not like he's going to be like flailing around in a lantern suit. Like he'll be damn good. Like I don't think that's going to be um, a problem. I mean, we had Tobey Maguire come back in his 40s to do Spider-Man No Way Home, and he was fine. We've had, what, Robert Downey Jr. is going to be. How old is he now?
Willem Dafoe is the Green Goblin in Spider-Man No Way Home, and nobody batted an eye. In
We have
fact, if he
Harrison
wasn't there, I'd
Ford
be living
playing
in the world.
Indiana Jones in his 80s. I mean, like,
He's
it
Red
is what
Hulk.
it is.
I mean,
And
he's
he's
Red
Red
Hulk.
Hulk, exactly, right.
Look,
And he's in his
it's
80s.
so ageist. It's one of the biggest bugaboos I have with Hollywood in general. But I will tell you that with the Green Lantern stuff, their mind and the ring is the power. Like, do you want to be in shape? Good. Do you want to look good? Good. And I'm sure they will. They have people that their whole job is to make sure he looks the part. But Hal Jordan was never like built like Batman in the first place.
Right.
Doesn't have to be. No Green Lantern has to be. In fact, it would look a little weird to me if he was. I also think they got a TV actor for a TV show, and he's been in movies, but he's famous for being a TV actor. And I think sometimes getting somebody for a TV show that's worked in that medium most of his career is a little more comfortable than getting a Josh Brolin and saying, "Hey, do you want to do this HBO show?" I know you got Matthew McConaughey did True Detective and stuff like that, but you know I feel like you say TV, a lot of actors are like, it's not for me.
Yeah, I mean those walls have been broken down with like the prestige television and stuff, but I mean some of them are not going to want to do it, right? Some of them are just not going to want to do it, and I can't blame them for not wanting to do a like what's probably an 8 episode TV show.
Atlantis
It
has
might
to
have
prove that it's a prestige show in the first place. It doesn't have that reputation going in.
right, right. It's probably going to have 8 episodes. It's probably a one season wonder, unless if it does really well and they want to continue those characters outside of the movies. That's otherwise we're looking at like a mini series, maybe, right? And that's cool. So maybe that's why they thought they could get a movie star. But Kyle Chandler is a good actor. I've seen him in multiple things. He's a very good actor, and I think he has what it takes to play Hal Jordan. Um, I think sometimes people again get, and this is for any actor, they look at their biggest role and say, "How can this guy do that?" Right? Like, I'm sure when John Krasinski was cast as Reacher, or what show is he in? Is that Reacher or one of the Tom Clancy ones? I think. Um, where people were probably like, uh, no, Jack Ryan, I think,
That's
right?
what it was. It was Jack. Yep.
Yeah, because Alan Richardson, I think, is
Yeah.
Reacher. But I'm sure people are like, Jim from The Office is going to be Jack Ryan. And I don't watch that show, but from what I hear, people like that show and they think he does a good job. So it's like, let's not always jump to conclusions. All right. We're not the characters in Office Space whipping out our jump to conclusions, Matt. Like, we have to give it some time and see how it does. And I think a lot of his roles actually, like if you take a football coach from Friday Night Lights and you say he's going to be a mentor for a young man, I think that actually lines up pretty well
Space
anyway.
Cop too. Space Cop coach. I can see it working out
Yeah,
pretty
yeah.
well. I think the thing is we forget that actors can act too. I think we forget that actors
hmm
are actors and it's their job and
You
their
know why that
craft
is, Chris? Is
because nobody
because
knows, no one has any experience acting.
right, and also the role that they're so famous for is probably their best role, and it's a role that it seems so effortless that people just think that's how they are in real life. And people hear that all the time of like, oh, I met this guy outside of real life. He's actually not like that at all, outside of that show. And it's like, yeah, because he's acting, right? So like, yeah, these actors can act,
We
and they can
disrespect the
do
craft
different
so
roles.
much. We
Yeah.
really do. We love storytelling. We need actors, and we disrespect them at every single turn. It's a pet peeve of mine.
Yeah, so look, I'm down for it. I actually like this better than any of those names we mentioned last time. I know that's probably heresy to people that you know really like those names because they're bigger names. But again, I don't think you need to get the biggest name. I think
I
you
was
just
into
need to
Brolin.
get quality actors.
I was into Brolin because he's a quality actor. I was
Yeah,
into the. I would have been excited about Ewan McGregor because he has the
yeah.
ability
What's
to
that
lead a
other one?
project. Um, I would have been excited about either of those guys. Um, I like this though, and I also think talking about the age thing though is like I'm in my 30s and I'm just starting to figure things out, and I think most of the bulk of the audience you need to hit on is our generation who grew up like going to the theaters to see Iron Man and the launch of the MCU. So like having a bunch of 30 and 40-year-old people just starting to figure it out, and you have this Green Lantern Hal Jordan being a mentor to a John Stewart Green Lantern. It wouldn't carry weight if Hal Jordan was almost the same age as John Stewart. You want someone who's had the experience, who's gone through the life battles, who has the perspective of being in the situation, and it's not his first rodeo. Because look, if I'm in the theater and 28-year-old or 25-year-old Hal Jordan is mentoring a 16-year-old John Stewart. It just doesn't play the same to me. I mean, because my my light bulb didn't start
Mhm.
going off until my 30s. I had so many things I could not figure out, and once I figured them out, it was like a game changer. And I think you need to reflect the actual way that the mentor mentee relationship can work. Not to say it can't happen younger, but I think 45, good range for that.
The other name was Chris Pine. That was the name.
Oh, that would have sucked.
That was the name. I think he would be fine actually. His character of Steve is pretty much like got the same look as Hal Jordan. You know what I'm saying? With like the bomber jacket, I mean, like he's got the look. It would just be
Wonder Woman 84 ruined him, I think, for me. Is that movie ruined a lot for me. The over reliance of needing Steve Trevor in that movie and the
mm.
complicated writing that didn't. Oh, let's not go there.
Also, like you said before, though, John Stewart is going to be the main Lantern. I think he's going to be the Justice League Lantern. Is how I would phrase it, right? Like I'm like, again, people are kind of overreacting to the news that he doesn't have a movie deal and that it's a 1-year contract or whatever. And it's like, I just want to point out Marvel has started doing a lot of the same stuff. Like Elizabeth Olsen, supposedly her contract is done after Multiverse of Madness, and if they want her back, they have to re-sign her. They've done that for a few characters lately. Is once they kind of got through Endgame, they had to start doing more contracts with like smaller contracts for people, and they don't really lock them down a lot because here's the thing: a lot of them were having problems. A lot of the actors were having problems. Elizabeth Olsen had this problem too, where she wanted to do a movie, and it got blocked because she already had, a movie in place with Marvel in the deal. So she had to drop from one or whatever because of how that would work. So a lot of times now they're doing the smaller contracts that allows those actors freedom to be able to sign new deals, and they can then work out the schedule later and all that kind of stuff. Like they're trying to do right by the actors. And look, would it shock me if Hal Jordan dies? No, it wouldn't, right? But it also doesn't mean he is, because I really have a tough time thinking that part of the contract would leak if it spelled doom for Hal Jordan, right? Like I don't know if they would want that out there,
That's
right?
fair. That's very
Um,
fair.
and maybe I am just naive at that point, but that's my thought on that. I do
We don't
think
do a
that
lot of contract law in our day-to-day lives.
right. But like, yeah, I mean, look, because it's all about who confirmed it. Did DC confirm that a DC source confirm it to them that he's not in a movie deal, or did Kyle Chandler be like, no, I won't want people to think I'm locked down. I want to get more roles, so tell people it's a 1-year deal. I don't know, right? It could be either or. But my point being is, it doesn't mean anything. They could do this show, do the 1 year, 1 season. John Stewart is our main GL, but then, like Ron said in our group chat, maybe a big event happens that the Justice League gets, and they're like, everybody arrives, and Hal Jordan arrives, right? Like, it doesn't mean he's dead. It doesn't mean he's retiring. It could just be that he goes off and does something else, and then comes back another time. So, for people that are getting ready to like flip out about that, just let's wait and see how the show does. And also, what I want to say is, I know this will be controversial, but it's an adaptation, right? So some things are going to change. The fact that he's older is different. The fact he may die is different. But I do think that we have to allow these storytellers to tell the story they want to tell. I don't want them to not kill off Hal Jordan just because he's Hal Jordan. If that's the story they have and it's a good story and it's going to hit me in the emotions, then tell the story. I have comic books with Hal Jordan. And I'm sure once the DCU is done, there will be another Green Lantern story. Like I understand that he's not like a character like Spider-Man that gets multiple chances and multiple actors, but let the storytellers do their job. We're getting scripts by Damon Lindelof, Tom King, and just like this incredible writers group that are going to put like really good scripts together. They have quality backgrounds. I'm going to let them do their thing. I'm not going to react to this in a way of immediately shutting myself off from it just because I'm scared he's going to die. And if he does die, if it's done well and it serves the story, I'm not going to lose my mind over it either. Like, I mean, I think we're getting to a point, Chris, where we're a little too spoiled with how many characters get these movies and stuff. Because I remember when people used to just be excited when we would be like a name drop. And they're like, oh, they name dropped that person. They can't show him because this is a movie and they probably can't do him accurately. But they name dropped him, and that's good enough. But now, because all these characters get movies and TV shows, we're at a point where people are like, it needs to be exactly like the comics. And we need to have Hal Jordan for 10 years before we're able to introduce John Stewart and then introduce the other Lanterns. And
Yeah.
we don't have that time. We don't
Well,
have that time to
well,
do
look
that.
at the Arrowverse, dude. Not that long ago, not that long ago, we had the Batwoman who said, "Oh, the Wi-Fi password is Alfred," and that was a huge deal. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
they how many times did the Arrowverse set up Ted Cord never to like bring him in? It's Cord Industries. How many times? Especially with the Flash. Oh my goodness. But like, it's we are spoiled. Just thinking about Smallville, and we get that Justice episode in season 6, and
Yeah.
that was like uh, that was like monumental at the time. So,
I'll give you a Batman example, Chris. It's
ooh,
one that
Batman.
is controversial because I don't like it, but some people say that's a great nod. When we have the detective by Joseph Gordon-Levitt be named Robin.
Oh God, I hate it. God, I
Right.
hate it.
You hate it, right? But there was a lot of people that were like, "Oh, Robin, that means he becomes Robin." And for some people that was enough. But now we can't even have a Hal Jordan that's comic accurate and he's just a little older. People are upset about that. Like it's like let's reframe ourselves here. Like, let's recenter ourselves to he's
You
probably going to
know,
be very comic accurate. He's just going to be a little older.
you know what would be really hilarious is if like down the line, like a project like in the DCU, like you get a like variant, like a multiversal variant of Robin, and it's just Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and it's like, yeah, my name's Robin. Like, wouldn't that be hilarious? Like, if he's just like they see all these Robins, and it's just Joseph Gordon-Levitt going, "I found the key."
Yeah. So your name's Robin and you're also Robin? No, my name's Robin. I'm also Batman. I took over after the other Batman left.
Yeah, I did the whole thing with the light and everything.
Yeah. But yeah, like that type of stuff is people before used to eat it up, and now they won't even take just slight changes, just slight changes. If you made Spider-Man now not have the web shooters and had it come out of his body, people would flip out. They didn't flip out in 2002 when that happened. They were, there was a lot of people
I
then
was
that
12. I
found out,
didn't know any better.
right, and there was people that then found out that the web shooters are not organic in the comics, and they're like, "Wow, oh, that was a change." And you know
Honestly,
what? We accepted those changes.
I hate to be that guy, but I actually think it's cooler that they were organic. Like, to me, that's cooler. It's
Well,
like
it
more.
is the biggest part of a spider, and it's the weird that it's the one thing he can't do.
Yes, the thing.
But
That's
yeah.
yeah. That's the
Okay,
thing.
we have a front runner, according to my time to shine. Hello, for John Stewart. This broke today. Damon Idris, um, and they are the front runner for John Stewart. Now, according to my time to shine, hello. And I know I've before said like we don't have to pay attention to them that much, but what I want to say is that they nailed the Supergirl villain casting a couple weeks ago that we're going to get to in a little bit. I saw a tweet from September 12th where they broke that news, and it broke yesterday. So they might know this for sure. And then another person had pointed out on September 4th that Tom King started following Damon Idris uh, on Instagram. And I know before I've said on here that doesn't mean everything all the time. And I still think that it doesn't mean everything all the time. But what I'm looking at is I'm looking at that, and I'm looking at maybe that news breaking through My Time to Shine Hello. And I'm looking at, as a rumor, this has some credibility. And I'm thinking that it might be accurate. Now, it doesn't mean that front runner doesn't mean it's done. Front runner is what they used for Josh Brolin as well, and that did not get done. He passed on it. So it all depends on, you know, if what's actually going to happen. I can't say what's going to happen. I'm not too familiar with him. I do see he was in a Twilight Zone episode in 2019. He was in a Black Mirror episode in the same year. I definitely watched that Twilight Zone episode. I don't remember him, but he's 33, which I think is an appropriate age for John Stewart's actor. So I feel like that would be as much as I can say. I remember everybody in that episode being good, so I would assume he's a good actor still. And probably a good pick, but I just trust really in the casting overall, especially after seeing the Superman cast and all that. I really do believe in the casting that they've been doing for the DCU.
Well said. I have no notes. I mean, I don't know the actor. I've seen a couple things that apparently he's in. So I don't know the actor though. Like, couldn't place him to save my life. And that's exciting to me because that means to me there's an actor of no baggage, no preconceived notions. This could be his big break to becoming a star. And that's kind of the stuff you root for with these projects. So I'm all for it.
Yeah. Okay, so let's move on to the Supergirl villain news. So this broke on Deadline yesterday on Tuesday the 24th. Matthias Schoenaerts, I think Dutch actor or Belgian actor, Belgian I believe, is cast as the villain for Supergirl, and filming is supposed to start in January, according to the Hollywood Reporter. And Hollywood Reporter confirmed the character name of Krem of the Yellow Hills, which is the villain in Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. I still have yet to read the book. I got to get it done. I saw artwork of him, and he looks exactly like the artwork of this guy. So, in that opinion, he looks like it's a good casting.
Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I was so excited just because I was like, man, they really are doing an adaptation of Woman of Tomorrow, and there's going to be the meat of that in there. Um, that's cool. But I look at a side by side. Holy crap, that's like picture perfect casting.
Mm-hmm.
Decent actor, it seems. I'm all for this. And again, as someone who really likes of Tomorrow, the book that we always say we're going to talk about at some point here on the show. Like, yeah, I'm all for it.
Yeah, he was apparently in Amsterdam, Red Sparrow. I have seen that movie, so that's why he looks familiar to me, I guess.
Hmm.
I've seen Red Sparrow, The Danish Girl, A Bigger Splash, and The Old Guard with Charlize Theron. So he's in those movies, and it's supposed to start filming it in January in the UK. And we also heard rumors that Lanterns is supposed to start filming around the same time. So just, um, it's getting we're getting some stuff going now in the DCU, and it's very exciting to have like 2 straight days of casting news. And we're going to get more. We're going to start getting more cast for Supergirl, and we're going to probably start getting more cast for Lanterns, and just more information in general. So I'm really looking forward to all of that.
I am giddy. I am. I think the word for this is giddy. I am basically like Ebenezer Scrooge at the end of A Christmas Carol. Um, I never did do anything. I'm just giddy. I'm gonna freak everyone out happy because it's becoming real, and we're getting progress on things. It's less in the future. It's more in the now. It just I was thinking about how close Superman is when you really think about
Less than a year.
it. I mean, it's gonna be here before we know it. Like,
Yeah.
and I'm so excited. I think the worst day of my life would be walking out of Superman and saying, "Oh crap, it wasn't good." Like, because I'm so excited about that movie. I have not. I'm trying not to build the movie up too much, but the ride of this movie and the ride of the DCU is sustaining me here. And my darkest hours, it's what I think about.
All right, and then we real quick had some news about Superman and Lois season 4. This came from I forget what website it was, but it was a TV based newsletter or something. And it says they're hearing Superman and Lois series finale will do something that no previous Man of Steel themed TV series or movie has ever done before. Specifically in the series finale.
Huh.
So, don't know what that
Well,
would be.
we know it's going to be the Death of Superman story, but we've seen Death of Superman kind of in the Snyderverse. Uh,
Yep.
I doubt they're going to leave him dead. I would really have a hard time believing that's going to happen. I think Jordan's going to take over. That's what I think's going to. I think you're going to see a Superman retire. Um, and there's a lot of things though you could say is, oh, Superman's never done this before. There's a lot of things Superman could do that have never been done before. We'll see. I don't know. I'm still trying to
Yeah.
figure out who Tom Cavanaugh is going to play because I heard it was a character, a new character for the show. It's not going to be Reverse Flash or
Right.
Harrison
Right.
Wells. And I'm thinking, and they said they couldn't believe that they were able to use this character. So I'm like,
Condiment King. It's got to be.
honestly, there'd be a part of me that would be delighted. There would be a part of me that would be absolutely delighted. There'd be a part of me that would just face bomb, but there would be a part of me that would just giggle. God, you threw me off track, Jordan. Kite Man. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Yeah,
Hell
there's.
yeah.
Yeah, we know that Tom Cavanaugh is playing somebody. We also know that they were able to use a DC Comics character. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be the same thing. Like, I don't know if that is associated with the Tom Cavanaugh part or what. But like, we know that they've said that they've used a character that they were excited to use, and then we also know that this thing just said, it does something that no Superman series has ever done or movie. I do lean maybe it's Jordan taking over, but
Hmm.
I don't know if that is like, is that really that big of a deal? I don't know. Maybe it is.
Maybe they give Lois powers at the end. I don't know.
I feel like that's been done.
That has been done actually.
Smallville Lois gets powers in one
Yeah,
episode.
that's a good episode actually.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Oh man. Ooh, the character, this isn't related to Wells. Not Wells. Kavanaugh. This isn't related to Kavanaugh. The character they couldn't believe they got to use. I can't imagine it would be Bruce Wayne, but that's where my brain goes. When they can't believe they were allowed to use a character. You think Death of Superman might bring in Batman, but they've
Hmm.
never really hinted that Batman even exists in this Superman's world.
Yeah. And WB is very weird about Batman.
Yeah,
So
it's like no, it can't be. I would think it would be cool if Wells was something Flash adjacent or something relating to the Flash. Um, that we just he hasn't done yet.
What if he's Armageddon Flash? You know how like he took over the Flash in Armageddon?
Oh no. Uh, oh
By the
man.
way, I watched Armageddon a year ago. Uh, like a year ago, a couple days ago, because it was on my time hop. I was like, oh, I watched Armageddon.
Wow.
Yeah, it's
Man,
crazy.
time
It's been a
is
while already.
weird. Time
Yeah.
is weird. It's like Barry, what did you do? Um,
Let's
I
talk about
say
the
that
last
all the
item on
time.
the list here we have, and then we'll get out of here and
Yeah, yeah.
record our penguin stuff. But um, rumor from Bleeding Cool, I believe it was, that out of Baltimore Comic Con, the scuttlebutt is James Gunn is writing a Superman comic, and it's going to be illustrated by Jim Lee. Would you, if that's true, do you think it would be like a prequel, like the Paul Dano Riddler thing, or do you think it would be just a separate story that he's writing?
I would have to think they would tie it into the movie. I would.
I think
It
so too.
it would be really cool if it wasn't. Like it was just, yeah, I'm just gonna write Superman because I love Superman. And James Gunn, I do believe has the passion for it. You'd have to think that would be an irresistible tie-in to the movie. Get any ticket you can get. Yeah, I would think it's a prequel. We're gonna
Yeah.
know by the Jim Lee art if it looks like David Corn's fight.
Yeah. Yeah. If it has like the same suit.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, I do think that this would be probably a tie-in, and I think that would be really cool if James Gunn did write a comic. I mean, he's a big comic fan. It'd be cool if he actually got a chance to write one, especially for DC Comics. Like,
he
I think
probably
that's
went
the
to Jim Lee and said, "I really want to do this. Can I
yeah.
do
And then Jim
this?"
Jim Lee was probably like, "I'll animate it, right? Like, I'll draw it."
Perfect.
I think I think it's a slam dunk if you do it. I think it would get hype out there where people would be going to pick up the book, right? Like, I feel like some people that are interested in the movies that have not read comic books would be like, oh, the guy that did Guardians of the Galaxy and is making the Superman movie is writing a Superman prequel comic. I'm gonna go get it. Like, I think that could actually do wonders.
That'd be a
We
great
saw
thing for our community. Yeah.
we saw how him pushing the books helped start selling them. I think
Hmm.
it'd be really cool.
100% agree with what you said there. 100 freaking percent. I also think it would be a subtle dig at the Snyder Bros because we've been saying forever, why don't you just continue that story in a comic book or an animated format? And like they're all like, no, man, it's got to be the movie. Like, and then James Gunn just does the comic book. That'd be hilarious. I'm sorry. I There's a part of me that's still
All right. Well, we'll wrap this episode up here. Like I said, tomorrow you'll get the next episode, which will be our Penguin episode 1 recap. So make sure you check that out. Um, we got Chris releasing episodes of Capes and Animation over on Capes and Animation, the podcast he started, part of the
Yep.
Logjam Media Network. And I'm covering Agatha all along with my friend Casey McGeorge over on the Marvel podcast, the Infinity Saga and Beyond. So yeah, we've got lots of great stuff coming on all this. The Joker 2 coverage, our weekly Superman and Lois final season coverage will start up soon. It's going to be great. Really looking forward to it. And then, before you know it, it's going to be Creature Commandos and building into Superman, and the DCU will be kicking off.
It's gonna be great.
So at elseworldsdcfan on all of our social medias. Thank you all for watching and listening, and we will catch you next time.